Hello everyone, I'm Bethlehem Attfield. Welcome to the podcast Journey to Ethiopia with Story. In this episode, I'll read an excerpt from The Lost Spell, my translation of the novel የክብር ድንጋይ by Yismake Worku. While researching a book of spells, a wealthy man transforms himself into a dog. We follow the now canine protagonist as he journeys to Addis Ababa, and through his eyes we witness the sublime beauty of the Ethiopian landscape. The story of one man's literal dehumanization allegorises the abasement our narrator witnesses around him as he simultaneously lauds and laments his country. Worku presents a fly on the wall or a dog on the road view of contemporary Ethiopia that's at once a critic and a bittersweet love letter. Asymptote Literary Journal, February 11th, 2020. I have left Zuwai and I'm running fast in the direction of Meki. I'm so accustomed to running on 4 legs that running on 2 legs would seem strange. In time, everything can be familiarized too. I think adaptation is easier for animals than humans. No animal with 4 legs has to learn to crawl before walking. As soon as they are born, they try to stand. Then they straight away try to walk, however uncoordinated. Then they trot. Human beings show no such accomplishments. The first thing they do when they are born is cry. Everything else has to be learned gradually. Feeding and excreting seems to come more naturally to babies, but as they grow, they still have to learn to eat solids and learn to hold their pee and poo and learn to use potties and toilets. Learning to sit, crawl or walk, talk, it all takes a much longer development phase. Social norms contribute to the slow development of humans. If a child's instinct is to use the left hand prominently, society forces her to go against her natural strength and train the weaker hand instead. Once the child masters his mother tongue, he learns to read and write. To learn more subjects such as math, physics, chemistry, he may yet have to learn a foreign language. Not only must the child learn how to communicate with others and coexist with them, he also has to learn a trade to enable him to contribute to his community and earn a living. Thus, learning continues throughout a human's lifetime. Forever students, humans don't always learn what is good and worthy, but also what is bad and harmful. They learn to lie in order to get their way. If others get hurt on the way, such is life. Even our community elders lie. They sometimes lie for a good cause, such as reconciling 2 parties, and other times they may do it just to further their own cause. Religious leaders justify their followers' lies by saying that Satan must have deceived them, so people go on practicing lies and justifying them. Sometimes one single lie uttered in time of desperation can have disastrous consequences. People are mostly the result of nurture. Being born is just the beginning. Apart from practical training, people learn to feel, from how to love to how to take pride, to malign, to hate, to regret. All is learned. Then it is practised, from betrayal to unshakable faith. Everything is achieved through process and practice. People change according to circumstances. We can only say what man, through his diligence, has achieved thus far. We don't know what else can be achieved in the future. I'm not reflecting on learning and praxis to make myself accept life as a dog. Yet, I have no guarantee that I would not accept it eventually. At this moment, I don't have any guarantee about anything. I don't even have any guarantee that this road I'm running on will not give way into an abyss. I ran for about 30 kilometers and reached Meki town. I think before I resume my journey, I need to look for some scraps of food. The town is full of onions. Almost all the trucks I see are overloaded with onions lumbering along in every direction. I see very few trucks loaded with cabbages or potatoes. The rest are all laden with red onions. Seeing so much red makes me crave meat. The amount of time I spent searching for food in this town would have been enough to get me to the next town if I had carried on with my journey. I was about to give up and leave when I saw a puppy running from a backyard with a goat's head, and snatched his trophy without any difficulty. The pup had no option but sit back and admire the expertise with which I polished the goat's head. Thanks to Attfield, now that I'm vaccinated, I no longer have to cower away from other dogs. I recall after I have finished eating the tongue, the saying that those who eat goat's tongue will end up talkative. Talkative or not, I just wish I could be a person. I intended to leave a scrap for the pup, but I couldn't resist tearing the ligaments and crushing the bones, and before I knew it, all went into my tummy. So much for my intentions about teaching youngsters to share. I leave Maggie, the town flooded with red onions, and reach a tiny town called Asymptote. On either side of the main road are stacks of raggedly filled sacks. They are filled with charcoal. There are only a few acacia trees around here. I wonder where they get the wood to make charcoal. I resist the temptation to linger and visit the town. I have to reach to Mojo City before nightfall. I guess it's about 30 kilometers to Mojo. I quicken my pace and reach a market village called Kente. Casks of red onions and tomatoes line the road begging to be noticed. I must be approaching Goga Dam. This abundant harvest must be produced by the rich soil deposits around the reservoir. As I walk a bit further, I come upon the reservoir in full view, fed by the Awash River. Awash slithers along the rift valley like a python and peacefully gushes into Goga Dam. As the river reaches the dam on an open plain, it does not roar or foam with fury. Goga produces 635 tons of fish a year. There is a variety of bird life around the lake. However, Goga is gradually under pressure from increasing sediments caused by environmental degradation. The dam is threatened by increasing soil deposits as a growing human population distresses the country. I silently lament the tragedy of these two badly managed resources, strangling life from both lake and land. Any mention of Awash always brings to mind poet laureate Tsagaye Medehin's poem. I feel as if the gentle breeze from the lake is whispering the verses. How long, Awash? Down from Meja you flood, red with fertile soil's blood. Show us navel sweats, her streams labor, your valleys, gorges, and rocks splinter. What are you, Awash? What makes you air? Apart from other waters, are you exceptional? Made to consume your kin like spiderlings. I realized I'm thirsty, so I go down to the shore to drink. I wash down my thirst and the verses with the river water, the life-giver and destroyer. Beyond the reservoir, some greenhouses are bunched together like a settlement. As I pass through the minor towns of Ijersa and Goga, the aroma of flowers and strawberry farms delights my senses. From a distance, I see thick black smoke blowing skyward. I must be approaching the industrial city of Mojo. As I walk past a Chinese cement factory, it starts to get dark. I stop to gawk at a billboard advertising Mojo's modern abattoir as if a piece of meat will drop out of it. This is where Ethiopia's cattle are slaughtered for export. Not only the meat, but also the hide is exported. We then pay a premium for imported leather brands that might have been made from the same hides we exported. Embittered by the irony, I enter the city of Mojo. It stinks courtesy of the leather tanning industry. I have no option but to spend the night here. I wish I could block my nose. I can't seem to get used to this foul smell. The trucks that deliver goods from the Djibouti border are parked for the night all over the city. The drivers lounge around small traditional coffee houses. These coffee houses are considered a cottage industry. Ladies of all ages, armed with jebana, the traditional clay pot, brew fresh coffee to earn money. The aroma from the roasting coffee blends with the smoke of frankincense, toning down the stench from the tannery. Truck drivers are all over the coffee shops, sipping their coffee. Some of them are indulging in stimulants. Their chat-filled cheeks make them look like they have glandular fever. Women in figure-hugging clothes walk around, chit-chatting with customers. The drivers follow this spectacle with their tired eyes. The women smile back. They sometimes pour coffee or help sort the chat leaves, whispering, "Relax." Outspoken customers command the attention of the quiet listeners. Those who are already high in chat wet their lips, often with their tongues, like they can't wait to get a taste of something delicious. With their bulging eyes and sticking out tongues, they look like Maori warriors, but instead of frightening the enemies, they ponder, picking on their teeth. The fragrance of the frankincense is by now overpowered by the stench from the tannery, and the smell of flavored tobacco blends with it to create an indescribable odor. The hookah smoker has his eyes closed, like a saxophone player playing with passion. Opening his eyes, he wipes the pipe with his sleeves and passes it to the next smoker. A madman is begging for chat scraps at the entrance of one of the coffee houses. As he is suffering from withdrawal symptoms, he will take any green leaf that passes for chat. As fascinating as this bustling scene is, I have to leave and look for leftover food. On my return, I slump in a dark corner and continue to watch the drama for most of the night. Thank you for listening. Please read the discussion points under the description of this episode. We would like to hear your views on these points and any other observation you may have. If you'd like to listen to more stories as soon as they are released, please subscribe to this channel. Until the next story, goodbye.